Hello, and welcome to Story Behind the Story, where romance readers and authors connect. I'm Reese Ryan, author of sexy, emotional, grown folks romantic fiction, where characters who are 30 plus navigate career crisis and family drama while finding love. So that's me. And if you are new to the show, thank you so much for joining us. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back. Um, I've got lots of exciting chats lined up over the next few weeks, including today's chat, including especially today, because I've been trying to get this author on this show for a long time, since way before I took my extra long hiatus. So I'm super excited about our guest today. And so if you've been here before, you know that I don't like to do formal introductions. I like to have the guests introduce themselves, and I'm going to do that in just a minute. But if you, whether you're new or you've been here before, you want to check out the listing of future shows that I put up. I have put up all the shows for February and for March, so you get a chance to see who some of the guests are who are coming up in the next couple of months. Shows have been scheduled through June, so there won't be any hiatuses until June. So I can promise you that. And again, this is an interactive show. So if you have questions, comments, whatever, please leave them in the comments, and we will try to get to you all and try to address your questions as we can. And if you're joining us on Facebook, you'll need to, if you scroll to the bottom of the description of the show, you'll see a link where you can go to StreamYard and give Facebook permission for us to see your name and your icon or your avatar. If you don't, we'll see your comments, but we won't know who made the comment. And we'd love to know who you are, and be part of have you be part of the conversation with us. So that's all the housekeeping that there is. So without further ado, I am so excited about my guest today. Author D.L. White has joined me today.
Hello.
I'm so excited to have you here. So first things first, tell us a bit about who you are and what you write.
Happy to. I am D.L. White. I am an Atlanta-based author of romantic fiction featuring Black men and women. I have been in Atlanta since 20 years in February. So I can almost say I'm from here, but not quite. My family all live up in Washington State. I write anywhere from cute, steamy beach reads to swoony, sexy romance to warm Southern women's fiction.
Ooh, that's quite a range, and I love it. Because you got to keep things exciting, right, for yourself and for
yeah. I gotta bounce around a little bit. I don't like feeling like I'm writing the same book all the time. So I need to bounce around a little bit. But I got my comfort zone. So yeah.
Yeah, we like that. We like the comfort zone, but every now and then you want to venture out and do something just a little bit different. Yeah. Okay. So tell us about your road to being published and why you determined that being an indie author was the right move for you.
So I've told this story a few times before, so apologies if you heard it, but I'm about to tell it again. I'm a published author because I am an NSYNC fan. Oh, hey, Nicole. I'm from Spokane, Washington, across the state by Idaho. So I'm a published author because I'm an NSYNC fan. I've been a fan since they dropped. I worked in radio when they hit in '98. I fell in love with them and been following them ever since. And if you are a fan of pop music, you know they write fan fiction. So the thing about fan fiction is you take a public persona of a person and insert them into a story that you wrote. So you create your own original characters, your own original setting, your own original story, but that recognizable persona you write for the fans. And it's like you have a built-in audience, and like people are really waiting to read your stories because they want to read about their favorite. So if you if you're a Backstreet Boys fan and you like AJ, you're going to read AJ stories. If you're a One Direction fan and you like Zayn, you're going to read Zayn stories. I'm totally guessing because I don't follow One Direction, but I feel like Zayn is in One Direction. So
Was.
was. Yeah, because they're split, right?
I know he and Harry are definitely not there anymore. I don't know if the
Okay.
group is together all together. Yeah.
Yeah, all of them. Jonas, all of them. If you like a band, I almost guarantee you there is fan fiction about them. So I
I
wrote,
never knew this.
yeah, yeah. Oh yes, I wrote
And I
NSYNC
was a
fan
big
fiction.
NSYNC fan as
Yes.
well.
So I was reading fiction. I was reading it, and there are some fanfic authors that would write circles around some of these really popular authors out here. Um, really, really fantastic work. And so I would read it, and it plays out like a story in your head. And so I'm envisioning these stories, and then like in the peripheral is like other stories. Like what is happening over here? Like why is my brain writing other stories? And so I was like reading him, and I was like, there's a thing where I only ever wrote JC, and he is a very like a serious, meticulous person. He's really deep into the craft of writing. He's the first one up, he's the last one to sleep. He writes, the music, he sets the tone, he keeps them on schedule. They call him the daddy. And so when people write him in fiction, they write him very serious and somber and sad. But he also has like a really sharp tongue. He's a very sarcastic person. He's actually hilarious and brilliant. And I just didn't see that in the fiction. And so my brain was writing other stories about him. And I was like, I'm just going to start writing. I'm just going to start writing. So it was me and my live journal. I'm writing stories. And a friend said, why don't you post these over to the NSYNC fan fiction archive? And I was like, no. So they talked me into it. I posted my first story. It was called Let's Start Over, I think, about this rock princess who needs to work with a producer, and she does not want to work with this cotton candy former boy band dude. But the label is forcing him on her, and of course they work together and they write a hit and everything's all fantastic. And I post this story on the archive, and it was the first time I had posted something that other people were going to read, and I couldn't sleep. I was so nervous about my work being out there. It's like standing outside naked. I couldn't sleep. I got up at 3 a.m. and I deleted that story. The only way I could sleep is if I knew that story wasn't out there anymore. I was so embarrassed that people were going to be looking at it. And I got so many messages the next day. Where is it? I was in the middle of reading it and it disappeared. And can you repost it? It was really good. And I was like, no.
Oh, wow.
Really? It was really good. Yeah, you're not just saying that. It was really good. It was really okay, I'll put it back. I'll put it back. So I put it back up, and I have been writing it ever since. I haven't written a story in a long time, but I am still a fan fiction writer. And I was writing like novel. Yeah, those are like my first romances. And I mean, the audience is already there. They're already very complimentary, and they want to read more of your work. Just like at the end of like every time I would update, more please, more please. Like I wish I would get reviews like that.
Oh my
More
God.
please.
Yeah, that's
When's
awesome.
the next update? More please. I wish. So so I was writing like novel length fan fiction, and my friends were like, you should write books, like original commercial fiction books. And I was like, no, really? Really? I should, really? So I was at this time driving around to around Atlanta, and anybody who's in this area knows about the Atlanta public school cheating scandal. Huge news. Like I would be driving to work listening to NPR. Teachers were arrested and indicted. The superintendent was indicted. People went on trial. Teachers went to jail. This was like huge. And in the back of my mind, a story is what if I had a character? No, sorry, that's not what I'm saying at all. That's not what I'm saying at all. What if I had a character who was in a position of power, and she made a mistake, and then the mistake got out, And then I just, in my mind, I saw the domino effect kind of roll through her life. It would affect her job and her family and her marriage and her relationship with her children and all of her friends. And in the periphery are her two friends who kind of, overlap, and they have their own issues and their own stuff. And so Brunch at Ruby's started to, to come to life. So I kind of, it took me 4 years to write that book. I wrote it and didn't really know what I was doing, but I reached out to some agents like, "Hey, I wrote this book. Here's what it's about. Do you wanna represent me?" And I very quickly got some, no, I don't think I can sell that. Not for
Oh,
me.
that comment right
And
there.
keep trying. So I reached out to a friend who had a friend who was a published author, and she's like, "Hey, send me what you got." And right away she was like, "Well, it's first person. Oh, what am I thinking?
Present.
It's first person present tense. First of
So was
all,
my first one.
yep. They're gonna look for third person past tense. So you need to change all that. And it's really long, and they kind of don't want a book about, three women. They want something to be a little bit more salacious. And I feel like she stopped just short of um they probably don't want a book about three Black women.
Mhm.
I don't know. So I was looking at it and I was trying to edit it, and like third person past it was so boring. It was so passive and flat. I hated it in third person. I said, I can't do this. I can't, I can't do this. Like this is not the book that I wrote. I wrote it how it comes to me, and it
Yeah.
comes to me first person present tense. I need it now. I need it immediate. I just can't do this passive. It sounds boring. So two things happened. I discovered Harlequin Kimani, beautiful, gorgeous Black people on the cover of books about Black people, like fully Black people. And I was like, oh, we're doing that now. Okay. Okay. Bet. I am writing a book with Black people. The second thing is hey, Aaron, I discovered indie publishing. There were authors out there publishing themselves. I think Christina C. Jones was the first book that I read. I grabbed it and I was reading it and I was like, I can't tell that this is self-published work. Bet. So I was like, I can do this. I think I can do this. So finished the book, and I think NaNoWriMo 2013, maybe. I tore that book apart, put it back together, booked hotel rooms on the weekends, wrote from Friday night to Sunday. I would edit Monday through Thursday, book a hotel room Friday night. I mean, I was working.
Wow.
I don't work nearly as hard now as I was working on that first book because it was coming out that March. And so that was like the beginning of my indie pub. I said, if only me and my mom are going to buy this book, it's going to be out. It's going to be out. Somebody is going to buy this book, but I'm going to publish it because I just didn't feel like I was going to get a fair shake from publishing. Like I have seen people be like, I don't know, I just shot something off and sent it to an agent, and agent's like, yeah, we'll hook you up with an editor and we'll fix it up and blah, blah, blah. And I'm hearing, I think it was on the Black Romance podcast, and Black authors were saying an agent told her it had to be better than anything else in her inbox in order for her to get attention. And I was like, I can't fight that, and I'm not going to. So I'm gonna go around, publish my own work, and that's where it started.
Wow. That's amazing. I
That was a
love it.
long, drawn out story, but
But I love it. I love it.
that's
First
how
of
we
all,
get from NSYNC to
I
Brunch
didn't
at
know about
Ruby's.
the. I love NSYNC. Did not know about that. Yeah, because
Oh yeah.
my NSYNC story is that I think I bought that first album of theirs for my son when he was a teenager.
Of course. Of course.
So like yeah, I was like,
Well, I was
I had no
25 when they
idea.
came out, and I got the CD because I worked at the radio station. I got it for free. And then like all the rest of their albums, I asked for copies of the CD because I needed to hear it because they were on the radio station. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. So I just want to take a moment to say hello to everybody who has
Hi,
joined
hey
us.
Kathy.
Yeah, so we got Between the Reeds and Angela Anderson.
That's my girl, Audra, my boo thing, Audra. Hello.
Yeah, and Nicole Scoggins. Crystal has joined us. Shay Baby from Brown Book
Hey,
Series,
K
Shay,
baby.
KB, Summer Reads, and Raina. We have, I saw Aaron, uh, and Sherry joined us. So Kathy Douglas. So we have lots of
Yay.
folks here, both authors and aspiring authors, because
Yeah.
there's some, and that's, a lot of readers are aspiring authors. So that's another
Mhm.
reason why this subject is one I'm excited to talk about, because what you just talked about right there is this
Yep.
whole gatekeeping that was happening, or people saying, hey, this is great, but I don't know how to sell it.
Yep.
And especially for writers of color, especially for Black authors, this has been a huge gatekeeping
It
to,
really has.
has
Yeah.
kept us out of the
Yep.
publishing space.
Mhm.
And I will tell you, one of my biggest regrets is that a huge author who is now a huge indie author, um, back in the day before I got my first books published with Carina Press, I had inquired. Had talked to her, and she had encouraged me to indie publish. I was like
Yep.
terrified
Yep.
of the
Yeah.
idea of trying to do
Well,
it.
I
Just like
mean, I
so much.
read a lot of self-published, like self-published, and I was discouraged heavily against self-publishing. Oh, don't do that. Oh, don't do that. They're awful. Self-published books are awful. And I had read a couple and I was like, oh, these are bad. Oh, these are really bad. That's why when I started reading, I grabbed Christina's book and I was like, I can't tell this is a self-published book. So obviously people are able to like get their books edited and formatted. This cover looks great. The writing is spectacular. It's warm, it's full, it's black. Yeah. Yeah, we're doing
Yeah,
this. We're doing
yeah,
this.
exactly. Exactly. And just another reminder too, if you are joining us from Facebook, you have to go to the bottom of the description. You can go to StreamYard, give Facebook permission for us to see your name and your avatar, so we'll know who's talking. But we thank you so much for being here and for your participation. And just let y'all know if you have questions that you want to ask, by all means, hey, Mama Tony, pop them into the comments, and we will try to address them as we're talking here. So
Yeah.
a lot of people have mentioned Brunch at Ruby's, and you mentioned Brunch
Yeah.
at Ruby's, which is a huge fan favorite. I'm pretty sure I saw Miss Bev gushing over it on Twitter one
Yes,
day. So, like, that is a huge compliment. So,
it is.
yes. So you've written a
Even
lot
my
of fan
mom was like,
favorite
is
books.
that
So
Beverly
Brunch,
Jenkins that said she liked your book? I'm like, yes, mama. Yes, it is.
yes, right. So so Brunch at Ruby's, and then the Never List, which I absolutely love. So why do you think it is that readers seem to really connect so deeply with your stories and your characters?
I think the people are real to them. Like they're real to me. Like when I'm done with the book, I miss those characters because they are real people to me. When I'm forming these characters, I want them to live in your brain. I want them to feel like your best friend, your neighbor, your auntie, your sister, your grandma. I want to give them characteristics of real people. I want them to have flaws, and I want them to be attainable. Like there's a Brenda Jackson book where I think the character is like a 19-year-old PhD or something like that. And I know that character is based on a real person, but like, come on. Like I just feel like that it's not that's not attainable for like the average woman. And so like I want to feel like my characters are or someone that people could relate to, men and women, because I do have men that read my books, that like my books. So I want my men to be just as realistic and attainable and relatable as the women are. And I think the books that I write, like I don't want to write about trauma. I don't want to write struggle. I do want to write real life. I do like drama. I do like drama. I love writing a fight, but I also like writing a makeup scene. But I want to write like real situations, real Black people living real lives out here. Not all of us live in, low income areas. Not all of us are drug dealers. Not all of us are, living lives that you might see in, you know, on the news or whatever. That's not all of us. And so I'm kind of really trying to pair out like a little slice of of life, and like create a story that is an escape. You know, I don't want to mimic real life. I want to give people a soft place to land, and I like a good fictional escape.
There's so much you said right there that I want to touch on, and some comments as well that we're going to go back and address. So first of all, Raina said Miss Bev's recommendation was the reason
I
that
love that
she
woman.
grabbed it. So I
Love
love
that woman.
hearing that. I love hearing that. Because as an author, it's one of the things I love being able to do is introduce people to other authors and stuff. And so I especially love it when people like Miss Bev
Yeah.
take the time to share other people's stuff. So you said a lot. One of the things you mentioned is not wanting to write trauma, and that is one of my things too. I am seeing a change in the industry where I feel like a lot of publishers are chasing Colleen Hoover
Yep.
and other folks who write that kind of very traumatic stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not knocking anybody who like it. You love it. That's great. I had a lot of trauma in my life already. So,
Yeah.
and it's not, and I do actually like to touch on real things for, but I like to give people going to those real things happy endings.
Agree. Yeah.
So,
like every so often I'll pick up an urban fiction because sometimes I want something with like some grit and some teeth, and like sometimes I want to read a drug dealer. Sometimes I want to read a gang member, but I don't want that all the time. And I don't live there. That's not where my brain goes when I think about a good story to write. So, I'm writing the stories that plant themselves in my head, and that's what plants themselves there.
Yes. And that's the whole thing is there should be room for all these kinds of stories, because in mainstream, as white writers, you can write, there's a whole range of stuff. So like, don't pigeonhole Black authors or any authors into just this trauma stuff. So that's something I hope that we're not going to see, is that every publisher is going to be trying to chase that trend and trying to push all of their authors for that. Because I just don't want to write that. So if that's what you want, we can part with. That's not what I'm about.
Yeah, that's not what you're gonna get.
So, yeah, and it's like I said, it's not, and I enjoy drama as much as the next one person, like you said, but it's just the deep trauma is just not something that I personally want to write. And there's enough room for us to do all these different things.
And like the last 2 years, I can't do it.
Yeah, these last few years have been traumatic enough, right? So, okay, let's go back and look at, I have bookmarked a couple of comments that I wanted to address. Hey, Kim from Reader Writes. Right, Robin Bradford's comment right here.
Hey, Robin, that's my favorite librarian.
Yes. There is still way too much stigma on indie press. I feel that. Okay, so let me start by asking, do you feel that that's the case?
I do. I actually do. I spend a lot of time on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I think there's wide acceptance of indie press, particularly for romance and for Black romance. I know you're traditionally published, but I feel like you're not going to get any better than indie romance for Black love stories. I though do see a lot of bias against indie pubbed books, and I think so much of that is authors not having the resources to put their books in the best light, or not taking advantage of the resources to put their books in the best light. The biggest complaint I hear is about editing, about story flow, and I mean, you need an editor. I need an editor. I mean, if you could see my books, like the rough draft, they're ugly. They're ugly. You will never, ever, I will never be publishing a rough draft. I need other eyes. I need like critical people to be like, this doesn't work. This doesn't make sense. Take this out. You already said this, these people, who is this person? You can just completely cut all this out. This don't even make sense.
Exactly.
I need somebody that's gonna.
See, that's another thing. That's the whole thing. I want somebody who's going to be honest with me, right? Because I appreciate, the appreciation,
Mhm.
But when it comes to the editing process, you definitely need somebody who's going to be 100% honest with you.
You do.
But I do,
You do.
so
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
behooves you, number
Yeah.
one, to get that voice and
Yeah.
to be accepting of that. Because
Yeah.
when
I think
somebody
there.
does tell you your stuff is
Yeah.
way too long, or you said this 16 times already, because I know I can be repetitive, and
I'm
that's something
very
I have to
repetitive.
struggle with.
Yeah.
I want somebody to tell me, dude, you said that 6 times already. Don't say that again. So
Yep.
you need that. You absolutely
Yep.
need it.
Yep.
Yeah, we need that. So yeah, and I do feel like more from the reader's perspective, I feel like more and more readers now, um, they don't even care or notice whether it's indie or traditionally published.
Right.
They're just looking for the authors that they love.
Yep.
And so I do feel in the Black indie community for that they're very, very supportive
Yes. Very supportive.
of Black indies, because they understand why
Yeah.
it
It
is so
also.
big and why it's so important
Right.
for the stories that we want to tell. So
And you don't have to wait.
I
You
do
don't
see
have to
that.
wait 9 months to get that book in your hands. Alexandra
Yeah,
House can finish a book in November, and you will have it by the end of December. You
exactly.
don't have to wait. I
Exactly.
mean,
And even aside from the speed with which you get the book, it's the fact that like we were saying, period. It's just that some of these stories, some of these characters, you know, are not appreciated by
mhm,
mainstream publishing. You
right,
know, they feel like,
right.
oh, I can't sell that, or
Yeah,
whatever the
they
case
don't
may
know
be.
how to market it. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So, it opens up this whole wide range of stories that we
mhm,
would not otherwise get.
yes,
Raina Ashanti says, self-publishing is mind-blowing how great the books are. And if there are people who have not really delved into the whole indie space and maybe still have this kind of bias, thinking that they that if the books,
it's
things
hard
like,
work.
oh, if it was a good book, a publisher would have wanted it. If you're thinking
Yeah,
things like that, you're going to be shocked when you start to pick up some of these books
mhm,
and see how amazing
mm,
they are.
mhm.
There's so many amazing authors, and we're going to get to some of that a little bit later, in terms of who, some of the recs and stuff that we're going to make. Um, yeah, I agree, Sherry. I'm so glad we're getting more diverse books through indie. We are. It is opening up.
Yes,
Um, it's opening up the door for so many stories that we would not have otherwise have
yeah,
got.
yeah.
And okay, so I love this one. We just regular ass Black folk. So
Oh, it
I
just cracks me up.
love this.
Just
I love this
regular
one because
ass Black
one
people.
of what that is what as we start talking about like some of the restraints or trying to fit in, like,
Mhm,
so the different publishing houses, like the different imprints, they have
mhm.
what they consider their brand.
Yep,
So like a Kamani romance or a Desire or whatever, they're leaning toward wealth. And so for me, like, I'm not really loving writing billionaires, but that's the brand. So I always
right.
try to make. One librarian told me that she considers my heroes to be chillionaires, because she's like, they're rich but they don't act like.
I love
And I
that.
was like, I love that.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So
Trillionaire.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
I love
sneak
that.
in my regular ass Black folk
Right.
anyway. They just
Exactly.
got money.
Right.
so,
Right. Yep.
so
Yep.
yes, but yes, that's the
It
whole thing
fits.
of like
Yep.
giving the readers what they want, right? Jasmine says trauma reads are so hard to read, and they really, I
Mhm.
mean, like I said, they can be
Yeah.
brilliant, they can be amazing, but they are really hard to read for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and just some
I
people
have to
just
be
don't
ready.
want that. you
Yeah.
know Even some of the realisticness that I might write in a book this I consider
Mhm.
pretty fluffy, might be too much for some people because they want a total escape, and I respect that. So if that's what you want, that's
Mhm.
what you want. So yeah, I feel like I don't want to see us get pigeonholed into just all these books about trauma, especially Black trauma. So okay. All right. And thank y'all so much for all of the comments and
Yes, thank
uh
you.
yeah, comments, questions, whatever. As
I
you see,
love
I'm
it.
trying to go through them and ask some. So before we get into more of this, because I don't want to lose some of these questions, Veronica Lockett has a question for you, and she says, "What comes first for you, the plot or the characters, and why?"
Usually the characters. I feel like my books are very character driven. But the plot comes soon after. Sometimes I'm like, when I wrote Beach Thing, I wanted to write I had actually just written a fan fiction story, and I just felt like I wasn't done writing. So I started a new book. And I wanted to write like a wealthy black dude out on at a beach vacation, and he meets a woman, and Wade kind of came and sat down in my head, and then he started forming himself, and then Amina kind of formed herself, and I was like, okay, well, so what are they doing, what's happening, what's going on here? Sometimes I get a story first, but it's usually the characters, and then I have to figure out who are they, what are they about, what do they want, why can't they have it, why does anybody care? And then I have to build the story from there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely I'm all about the characters for
Mm-hmm.
real, for real. So, um, between the reads, there's way too much stigma, and that's a shame because there are a lot of great
There
books.
really are. There
That's
really are. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's frustrating because I don't want to evangelize or proselytize about indie books. You have to want to read them, and you have to want to forgive the fact that an indie author might not have $1,000, $1,200 for editing, but that's a dang good story.
yeah,
And you kind of have to read it and just let your eyes. Because even my books, like I'm just reading through Hey Lover, and I see grown GRWN instead of grown GRAN. I was like, come on.
it
This is
happens.
book
And
11.
and
Come
let's
on,
be real,
girl.
it happens even in traditional. Even
Yeah.
in traditional, I
It's
find
yeah.
mistakes. It might not be as many, but I do find errors or whatever in traditional. I remember reading one, and I absolutely loved the story so much, but I saw that there was a name that was incorrect early in the book, and it kind of gave away the ending a little bit.
I know.
But and that was traditional. Look, that stuff happened. That stuff happens,
It
and it's gone.
happens.
Even though it's
Yeah.
gone through
It
lots of
happens.
passes, that stuff
Yep.
happens. This is a good point. Summer says, "I'm so glad I didn't let one book turn me off. All indie romance, I would have missed so much."
Yeah.
And I think that's an excellent point because if somebody reads a book, it's like, oh, this book was badly written or badly edited or whatever, and they say, okay, they just you know brush all indie books with that same brush.
Hmm.
You're gonna miss
Yeah.
out. You're gonna
Yeah.
absolutely miss out. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's an excellent point. Let me see. Okay, I'll get back to that one. Let me mark that one later. Okay. Okay. And Renee says, I learned a lot last year about supporting indie and Black trad authors. And we appreciate that. Let me tell
Yeah.
you.
We sure do. Because even when you're traditionally published as a Black author, it's hard. They're not pushing your books as hard as they're pushing Colleen Hoover. They just put it out there and they're like, good luck. So when you see us out there, even if you're not buying the books, retweet. If you love the book, say something, tell 6 people. Word of mouth sells books. As you and I have both seen. Um, Trad, indie, hybrid, we all need you. So yeah, I am appreciative for the support. And I know there are a lot of traditionally published authors that I mean, the readers and the fans are holding them up.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Kim has a question. First of all, thank you, Kim. She said, I'm a huge fan of Reese's. You're a new to me author. Which book of yours should I start with and why?
I always recommend people start with Brunch at Ruby's because she's my favorite. She's the book of my heart. It took 4 years to write that book, and so I want everyone to read it to make up for my pain. Brunch at Ruby's is like that. I say it's the book of my heart. That is the book I really wanted to write. If I never wrote another book ever again, that is the book that just would not quit. It was going to come heck or high water. It is my favorite. Every time I read it, I see something different. I always recommend people start with that one. Now, that one is women's fiction with romantic elements. There are actually three love story, three, where are my fingers at? Three love stories in that book. There are happy endings, not trying to give anything away, but the central story is the friendship between three best friends who live in Atlanta. Everything that happens before, during, and after their monthly brunch at Ruby's Soul Food Cafe. If you like romance, I would recommend A Thin Line. That one is an enemies to lovers, second chance romance. I absolutely love that book. And if you like snark and sarcasm and two hard-headed people that know they need to be together and just don't see it, you would like A Thin Line. And then the other one that's kind of a sleeper is Beach Thing. It's a shorter, like a novella length. It's set at the beach. Um, it is just like a cute, surprisingly steamy novel. Some friends on Instagram read it earlier this year, and they absolutely loved it. That's the most attention Beach Thing has ever seen, and I really like that book. It's a quick, easy read. All of them are great, but I think those are good recs to start with, and then you can fan out from there.
Lots of good places to start. I love the way you gave so many options there. I love that. I love it. Okay, let me see. Okay, I'm just checking to see what other questions should go before I ask my next question.
Fabian's Diamonds.
Okay. All right. Yes, I saw Tim Simons. Okay. Ooh. Yeah. Yep, I get it. Dolores says, I'm reading Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, and some parts are hard to read. Yeah. That brings up, I've read several books that are like some of the books that are like you see them everywhere and they're lauded, and that's great. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, it was hard. It was like it was traumatic. Some of it, reading it was traumatic. Some of it was traumatic. So, like I said, there's room for everything. I just don't want to see us get pigeonholed into that. It's got to be this way or that. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed about
that. Was a good book.
I
ate that right on up.
Thank you so much. Okay. All right. So while I am looking at some of these questions, okay. Thank you, Jennifer. And we do appreciate you so much. Jennifer says, that's why I'm always sharing what I read and the covers of the books. Thank you so much. That is huge because I'm going to tell you, I am always buying books, the Rex off of Twitter or Instagram or all the time, So
Robin Bradford kills my TBR every week. And every week I look forward to the books that she's putting up because she pops up these books like, I buy way too many books off of Twitter.
I bought so many books. And my favorite is when I go to buy a book, like it's on Book Club or something, and Amazon is like,
you already own
you bought that book last year. What's wrong with you? So Miss Carolyn says, indie authors enhance my reading experience 100%. I read daily.
Miss Carolyn.
Thank you both. Yes.
I think Carolyn has read, well, a few people in here have read all of my books. I think Miss Carolyn has read all of them. Yes.
Yes. She's amazing. So, and DM Simons, Black indie romance is literally why we exist. I love it. All right. So my next question for you is, let's talk about that recent release, Hey Lover. How many of you all were surprised? Like she just pulled out Hey Lover just out of nowhere.
That book almost didn't come.
Like, wait a minute, DL, why you got a new book?
It almost, I didn't say nothing about that book because right up until December 29th, I didn't know if it was coming. So.
Oh my God. When you said, when we were talking about you being on the show, and you're like, okay, I think I'm going to have something out. I'm like, okay. So, and you made it. So it's about soulmates who get a second chance at love. So tell us a little bit about the premise of the story and how you came up with it.
So Hey Lover is, I do not know where this idea came from. I wish I could remember it, but I know that I was probably watching something and Malik said, "Hey, what if you write a story about a gamer?" And and I think for me that it was I like an opposites. I like the dichotomy of Malik being like this. He's a gamer. He is very techie, very technology, very geekish, very um, brilliant in his own way, versus a very business savvy corporate. Um, get up at 6 a.m. and lead a board meeting and lead initiatives at work type, this dichotomy of these personalities together and put them, where they match, one where she meets, he begins. um Not explaining it well, but um I wanted to write this story where they were together, they were meant for each other, everything is going well, and then something happens and they split. And the blurb for this book says, "A struggle isn't love." And we so often see stories where people are looking for their ride or die. And you see women that are like hanging on to a relationship by a thread, and he is dragging her through it. And that is love. Like, that's true love. That's, dedication. And I just feel like I wanted someone to be at a, like, "I love you. Time's really rough right now. I know that you would stick with me through thick and thin, but I can't drag you through this. I need to take a step back. I need to get myself together, and I will be back." And I wanted her to be, "I am going to wait for you. You do what you need to do. And when you get yourself together, I might be here and I might not." And when Malik came around again, we could find out, is she there or is she not? Like, what's going on in her life? Like, he, they kind of split up when things are going really great for her and things are going really bad for him. And when, he finally got himself together, it had been 7 years since the last time they saw each other. What's the situation? You know, will he go to that door? Will she open it? When she opens it, is she going to knock him out? Or is it a warm reception? Like, I just, that's kind of what I wanted to play with that story. So, Malik and India are in their late 30s. He's a gamer, she's a CEO. She's got her own things going on. He's got his own things going on, but when they come together, it could be magic.
I love it. Okay, so let me pop back into some of these questions again. And yes, that's the never list with the green sweater.
There she is.
Yes.
Esme, yeah.
Yes, yes. And Kathy said Brunch of Rupees is a good first book to read, and the Never List is also a great one to start with. Couldn't agree more. Between the Reeds, yes, I love that cover.
Yeah, me too.
And Between the Reeds says love beach thing. Miss Carolyn says love all your books. Love that. Oh yes, for sure. Word of mouth is why I read daily from books, both traditional and indie authors. Appreciate that so much. So
my lipstick.
The Guy Next Door is one of my main comfort reads. All right. Okay. So DM's Diamond says, "We out here for DL and Reese, and we appreciate you so much.
We love it.
That we don't. Don't ever think that we don't." So you gave us a lot of background on the story and stuff. Tell us a little bit more about these two individuals, Malik and India, who they kind of a little bit more about who they are, the background on them.
This is a shorter.
I've read another gamer. I don't think I've read another.
Yeah, me either. Which was why the story was intriguing to me. Yeah. The idea was intriguing, and I looked for some gamer romances, and there aren't too many of them out there. And I love the idea of writing something nobody else is writing. So I don't want to feel like I'm writing the same thing. My lipstick is all messed up. I do not know what's going on over here. We are having issues over here. Sorry,
You
I look
fine.
a mess.
You're
Whatever.
fine. You fine.
Um, yeah, so
You're
I wanted to write something different, something new, something exciting. I wanted to find a story that was like that, something that could like guide me, like what are the issues that they deal with in a gamer CEO romance, but there weren't any out there, so I wrote one. Um, it kind of allowed me to play with it a little bit. So I didn't have to meet any reader expectations. The only expectation that the reader had was that I needed to sound like I knew what I was talking about. So I watched so many TED Talks and so many documentaries, and like I would sit on Twitch and like, now what is happening? What? What? Like asking, all my friends, like, okay, what's a good headset for a gamer to have? And like what, tell me about this. And my favorite note that I got from my beta was when Malika's writing a game, the games are named after planets, and the next game in the series was going to be Saturn. She's like, no, it's not Saturn, it's Mars. And let me tell you why. And I was like, okay, because I guess y'all, she's like, it needs to be, it needs to be this one. And here's why. So I needed to sound like I know what I'm talking about. Like I know how independent gamers get their games out to the market. I also needed to know how a new CEO would be settling into her job, and what insecurities she might have that she can't show to her staff. Her best friend also works for the company, so they have some really fun moments. This is a shorter one, so I didn't dig too deep into history and past trauma. But Malik, um, he was taking care of his father who was ill. His brother works for him. He's just really been toiling away trying to get his game studio up and running. That's like his heart. um, and India has taken over this company from her father, who decided to retire, and he left the company in her hands, and his staff is not impressed with her really. And so there's, all these underlying issues that are kind of writing up under the surface of this love story between these two people, coming together and having to overcome everything and also help, each other succeed. So
and especially like I said, the aspect of us not having seen gamer
yeah.
romance, whatever, before. I don't know, and like what you were just saying about having to know what to sound like you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
or talking about, and just I'm like every time I pick a new career or something for somebody, and I'm like, dude, why
The
did you
deep dive.
why did you do this to yourself? So I just finished, a couple books ago. I just finished one where she was an enologist, a wine scientist, and I'm like,
Right.
look that stuff up. And so like now I'm writing, a horse rancher, and so I'm like looking up,
I don't know anything
having to
about
look
that.
up like the movements of the horse, the different body parts of the horse, and the jobs on. I'm just like, why do you do this to yourself? I'm
Yeah.
like, and most of that's not going to go in the book.
And I mean, I don't drink, and in every book I have them drinking some thing, like, some bourbon, some wine. So I have a friend that works for Glazier's Distributors. So I always have to ask her, okay, if they're having this for dinner, what are they drinking? Because I don't know. If they're having a party, what are they serving? Because I have no idea. So she's always got to guide me on what the people are drinking. No, they wouldn't drink that. One time I had them put literally, I do not drink. Maybe once a year, I had them like put ice in wine, and they were like, "What are you doing? Nobody puts ice in wine." I'm like, "I don't know. It's a warm beverage. They don't put ice in wine. I have no idea." Yeah, this is why we need betas and editors, because some people don't know what they're talking about, but they need to sound like they know what they're talking about. Audra, I talked my lipstick off, and now I look ridiculous. So that's why I'm messing with my lips. And I'm
Oh
gonna be
my
stuck on
God.
YouTube with like red
Okay.
lips.
Lisa from Romance in Her Prime asked, will there be a paperback version of Hey Lover?
Maybe. Maybe. The thing about being an indie author is if I don't feel like doing it, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of the whole all of it, behind all of it.
I mean, sometimes like I would love for all my books to be in audio, but I have to pay cash for that. I ain't got no money. So they're
Mama told me
they're
in 7 years I'm gone.
right, same. And to be honest, India was gone. India was gone. But then he sent her an email and she was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
He's back. So but you gotta, read it to get through to the story. But truth be told, India was gone. So yeah. Yeah,
um,
so I may do a paperback. Of course, I'm indie, so I do all my own formatting in
this is what I was
ebooks,
looking for.
all
I
my
was looking
own,
for, here it
yeah.
is. Okay. Crystal says, let me go order brunch at Ruby's off of the website. I love that option of being able to order straight from DL. That is a really cool feature. I'm seeing more and more
Yes.
indie authors do,
Game
where they're
changer.
selling their books
It is a
directly from their
game
website,
changer.
cutting out the Zon
Yes.
and anybody else, all the other middle people
Yeah.
being cut out of that. And I absolutely love that. So I
Yeah.
I have a link down in the description for the Neverlist and Hey Lover, I think. Or no, maybe it's Brunch at Ruby's and Hey Lover. But if you're selling them from your website, for sure. There's
Mhm.
also the website, the link I believe for her website, so you can go to her website and purchase books directly from
Ebook,
her.
print, and audio. You can also buy audio direct from me. If an
Nice.
author offers direct sales, buy it direct if you can. It's a game changer. It makes a huge difference because if you buy it from a retailer, I'm not going to get paid for that book for 90 days, 60 days. If you buy it from Amazon, I get paid in 60 days. If you buy it from me tonight, I will get paid tomorrow. And that makes a huge difference in us having operating income to pay editors and buy covers and put books in audio. And I make more
Yeah,
selfishly.
for sure, for sure.
The profit is, I think Amazon pays, I think I get 70%. Whereas I make like 90% when you buy it direct from me on an ebook. So it is such a game changer if you can buy it direct, and authors make it very easy to get onto your device, or you can read it, you know, various other places, but also available retail. If you just need it in your Kindle app, your Barnes and Noble Nook app, your Apple app, it will always be there for you. I like to offer it direct first. So if you really, really, really need it now, you can have it now. Otherwise, you can wait 72 hours for Amazon to get around to posting it. So I do like that option. I love authors being able to offer it right now. If you want it right now, go to my site and get it, or you can wait 3 days for Amazon to post it.
I love that. Love it. Like I said, I love to see so many more authors doing that, where they're doing it directly from their website. So we had the comment about ice and wine, and then I'm the tiniest bit ratchet, and when my wine is not cold enough, I will drop an ice cube in it. Sorry, my
That's
husband
what I
will too.
thought.
My husband will
Like,
too. You are
it's a
not.
warm beverage. It should
My
be cold,
husband
right? Put
does
ice
the
in
same.
it. No, nobody puts ice in
My
wine.
husband does the same. It's okay. Hey, look, whatever makes you happy, you good. It's just diehard wine drinkers are like, no.
Like,
So it
y'all
just
just
depends on
drink
who's
it
right.
warm? I don't understand. I don't
So you
understand.
can. I mean, for the most part, you're supposed to chill it. I just got a wine.
Oh.
I just got a wine cooler. I don't drink much wine, but we end up getting a wine cooler, so we have it down there. Yeah.
If I drink wine, it's at a restaurant, and I guess it's chilled. I don't know. I don't
Yes.
drink wine at home, so I have to get help. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
have to get help.
That whole research thing about the drinks, though, like that's part, like especially with the Bourbon Brothers, right? Every one of them has that
Yes.
signature drink. So,
Yes.
I always end up doing some experiment. That's actually how I ended up drinking that gin I posted about yesterday. Is because
You're
this
researching?
guy, I'm like, I needed a drink for him, and I came up with this Tom Collins, and my husband had bought some gin, and I was thinking, I never drink gin. I'm not a gin person, so I'm like, I'm gonna try this drink. It seems pretty, it doesn't seem like it's bad. It doesn't have a lot in it. That stuff kind of snuck up on me.
What does it taste like? Does it have a taste?
So, Well, see, I cannot drink anything straight like
Oh,
that.
it tastes like
Like
whatever you
I
mix it with.
generally have something like a cocktail mixed with someone else. So
Yeah.
the Tom Collins is like 2 ounces of gin, an ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice, and is it something else? And then club soda. I think that's it. And
Yeah.
then club soda. But yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the bite of alcohol just slaps me in the face. I can't. Like I do like a half a glass of wine and then I have to lay down. I can't do it.
Okay. So here's a fair question. Okay, but I think I know the answer to this. But Shay asks, were any of your fans frustrated that they could not one click but had to go to your site?
Not that I know of. And the way that I have been publishing them since I started selling direct is this book is distributing to retail stores now. Amazon will have it up in 72 hours. Barnes and Noble always takes days. So if you want it right now, here's the link. You go right to PayHip, buy it. It'll be in your account in seconds. I think being able to have it right now is a benefit that I know of. No one has ever been like, I don't. I think I know of like one person that really doesn't like BookFunnel, and that's how we deliver books to readers. We don't really have a better option right now, except for just sending it out direct. But that I know of, nobody hates I mean, you can still one click. I'll just give you the link directly to the book, or you can go to the website and and click through it. You can buy ebook, print, or audio. But I think since the advent of authors being able to sell their books direct, it's really difficult to get consumers down to that single click. If I'm promoting a single book, I can point you directly to that book on. You can buy it direct in my PayHip store. I always have a link if you want to buy it retail. You can go to then you can buy it anywhere. Um, I just think the days of a single click are going away, and hopefully consumers are ready for that. I so far haven't received any backlash of I had to click 3 times to get this book. They just really want that book now. So yeah. And I think that the way that it is being positioned, where this is distributing to retail stores. It'll be up on Amazon in 2 days, or you can read it right now. I think that's probably the best way to position it, to make it work for consumers that just really want to read that book right now.
Yep, I get it. And then Carmen says, I discovered you with the audios of the Neverlist. I was on a road trip, and I'm certain other drivers thought I was crazy the way I talked back to Esme and Trey.
Yeah. So that book I read actually for my book cast, which was like a little bookish podcast that I have. The idea was to write short fiction and read it for the podcast, because short books are just, it's not worth putting them in audio because they're too short. And I read the Neverlist for the bookcast, which you can still listen to if you go. It's somewhere on Spotify. It's Books by Dale White bookcast. You can still listen to it. It's still up. It's the most amateur audiobook reading ever, but it's free. Do that what you will. So thank you for listening to that. Thank you for having compliments about that. I am never reading a 97,000 word book aloud ever again, because that was a lot of work. That was a lot of work. Like short stories only. Shorts. I'm never reading a full length for audio ever again. I am not a narrator, and the editing was rough. You got to do an intro and an outro and no, never again. So.
And Lisa Romance in her prime says, I'll buy directly from you and indie authors from now on. I love it. That's right. With the wine, you chill it and drink.
Right.
And also Dolores says, I will start buying directly. Yeah. So that's good. We had this conversation about that too.
Yeah.
So
if it works for you, I mean,
aware.
Yeah, the books are available retail if that's where you want to buy them. That's why if my books are there, I want them there. Unless you find it at a pirate site, I ain't put that there. But if my books are there, I want them there. I want you to buy them wherever it's easy for you. But also, if you're looking to put more money in my pocket, buy it direct.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So, Dolores asked me, "What's my favorite book that I've written?" Ooh. Oh, it changes. I'm gonna say if I was recommending to somebody who had never read any of my books to read one, I would probably say if you like rom-coms, it's gonna be Waking Up Mary. Um, but I probably love the most just a little married. Um, that was a lot of fun to write. That was a lot of fun to write. So if you
Yeah.
haven't read that one, it's part of a trilogy with two I did with two other authors, and it's the third book in the trilogy. All of them are standalone, but it's about three
Mhm.
foster brothers. I love that one. It's a modern marriage of convenience. Actually, both of them are. Both of them are modern marriage of convenience books. And so yeah, that would be my
Yeah.
favorite.
I like the
Um,
Bourbon Brothers series a lot.
let's see. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Book funnel will allow you to send it. Yeah, to
Mhm.
Kindle.
You
That
can
is
send it
true.
to your Kindle, or you can have them send you an EPUB. You can pull it into whatever reader you have. Yeah. Or you can read it through the Book Funnel app.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm trying to think because our conversations
Been
have been
all over
all
the
over the
place.
place. Did we get to our three to our three reasons you went indie? Do we specify what those three reasons were? Why you
I don't know that we got to 3, but,
we
being
talked about
able to
we
write what
talked
I
about
wanna
them. We
write
might not have numbered them.
the way I wanna write it. It's gonna be first person present tense if that's how it comes to me. I'm not gonna change that. I wrote what I wrote. Being able to, release when I want, the way that I want to release it, and, ultimately having control. Am I gonna put out a paperback version? Maybe. I get to decide whether I do that or not. I get to decide when I do that. I get to decide what the paperback looks like. I get to decide how much I wanna charge for that paperback. I mean, outside of what Ingram is gonna charge me to print it, or draft to digital print. I go through draft to digital. I get to decide all that, and I'm a little bit of a control freak. So those are decisions I want to make for me about my book business, because I'm the one in this chair. So I don't want to write something and then hand it over to somebody for them to make all the decisions for me. That doesn't work for me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
um,
yeah. I
yeah.
hear you. Lisa has a question. Buying directly from you through BookFunnel, can I read on Kindle app or just on BookFunnel app?
Yep. You can read through Kindle. Yep. Hmm.
Absolutely. That's what I thought. And thank you, Kim. I love that book so much, and I love that cover so much. So, thank you. Um, okay, yeah. She said it gives you several options as to where to read it. I
Hmm.
like that one.
Hmm.
Okay, very good book. Okay, so um, now let's get to Rex. So
Let's do it.
we're talking Rex, and my phone might die, and it's okay because I'm just
Oh
gonna
no.
put it right up to my computer, so it's okay. Because I'm on both, so I'll just switch
Okay.
over to the lesser camera on the thing if that happens. But now we're gonna get to Rex. So also everybody who is here with us, gives you a chance too to share some of your favorite indie authors and indie books or whatever. So because I'm going to ask y'all the same question I'm asking Dio, and that is, who are some of your favorite indie authors or a favorite indie book that you would recommend to someone?
Listen, how much time do you have? Because I got a list.
Yes, yes, that's gonna be
And
right.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna leave some people out, but I just want to hit some highlights. She's gonna get me for this. She's gonna get me. I'm always gonna start with Tasha L. Harrison. If y'all are not reading her, I want you to get your life right. She writes such beautiful, beautiful stories. Like, they have a flavor, and her voice is so strong in her books. I love the Diaries, of course. Eve Santiago is my girl. The Truth Duet is Two amazing stories. Officer Levi, mwah, this is my dude. A Taste of Her Own Medicine, though. A Taste of Her Own Medicine. A Taste of Her Own Medicine. It's on audio, on Scribd. The scene in the car. The scene in the car. That's all I'm gonna say. Another favorite is Delaney Diamond. She writes really great romance, really great romantic suspense. I love the Cordoba Agency series. And then she has a new series she started called The Family Ties. Ethan and Monica are already out. Audra is coming out the 27th. I can't wait for it. She's fantastic. Also is Sharon C. Cooper, the Atlanta's finest
You stealing all
series.
mine. You stealing them all.
All my good ones. I love that series, and it's trad, but she just had a release called In It to Win It. It's through Penguin, maybe. I can't remember. Berkeley, one of them. So good on audio. It's really, really good. I listen to it like New Year's Day weekend or something like that. It's fantastic. Fiona Zed and Chensia C. Higgins both write queer romance that is spectacular. My favorite from Fiona is House of Agnes. Ice Queen is like my new catnip. Absolutely love that novel. And then Chensia C. Higgins. I loved Fast Breaker. And Illicit Seduction is not a romance. And I'm laughing because I always laugh when I talk about an illicit seduction. But you read the trigger warnings, read some reviews, but put that book in your face. It is an experience. And then of course also it's a Carina Press release, but Devon and Chris Plan a Wedding is one of the best books I read last year.
I don't have
So good. Nia Forrester, literally anything by Nia Forrester. I worship the ground she walks on. Jacinta Howard writes, I don't even read new adult, but the Prototype series is the Prototype. If you say Jacinta Howard, I'm gonna come running. I love her. She also writes for like music publications like Rock the Bells. So she is just a fantastic writer. I mean, I just started reading Aubrey Penn, who is very dramatic. Real dramatic books. Like I have to be in the mood for Aubrey. But her writing is so good. One Final Shot. I couldn't put it down. And everybody is naming, J.L. Seegers, Christina C. Jones, Lula White. Oh my God, Lula White. Oh my God, Lula White. Lula White. I love her. Love her, love her, love her. So there's just so many out there. Also, Bianca Sloan. If you like thrillers, like domestic thrillers, she's a Black indie author and she is getting it done. Love Bianca Sloan. Like I have so many, just so many. I could go on for hours. I read a whole lot of indie and a little bit of trad. So I could go on, but I just love everybody. everybody.
Amazing.
Alex House, Rosie Adams, all of them.
I was gonna say
all of them.
definitely Alexandria House.
Put
Oh my
them
God,
in my
love her
face.
so much. Nicole Falls. You
Listen.
already named Sharon and Delaney. Amazing. Rosie Adams.
Here's the thing.
Jackson. Is it back in the day that one that she has where it's like it's the father's story and I
think so.
I love that book so hard.
Listen, Katrina Jackson and her I think it's her erotic romance pseudonym. The name totally escapes me, but I need a cigarette after I read her story. Like she is so good. And here's the thing, when people say they can't find Black romance authors, I just want to talk to them. I just spent 5 minutes naming off so many amazing Black authors. Like, where are y'all looking? Do you want to find them? I feel like you don't want to find them because we're out here. If you find one of us, you will find the rest of us because we all kind of hang out together. We all wreck each other. We are all on the same team. I mean, we out here. we out here.
Between the reasons, Dio, why you ain't telling me about all these other authors?
Let's talk.
And Ryan,
you get me started, I won't shut up.
Men of Action series is also indie published. Yes, back in the day. That is, I love that book so much.
Yeah.
Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. Okay, let's see. Another list here. We got Be Love, Tay Monet, Monica Walters. Just so many names.
Yep.
And like you
Yep.
said, if you put in any kind of effort whatsoever, you're
Yep.
gonna find all these amazing
Yep.
authors.
No
All
reason you can't find, and we all write different, we all have different flavors, different genres. Like Aubrey Penn writes these like really dra- dramatic stories, and I write just kind of the like the fluffy cute, and Nia's like a little bit in between. And I mean, we all write really different flavors of romance. You just kind of, you have to know what you're looking for. But we are, we're definitely out here. I don't know what people are looking for, or they feel like they can't find us, but like open your eyes. We're out here.
Yeah, I love it. Well, tell us what's next for you,
I have
Deal.
no idea. I do not have a single
And that's the
clue.
freedom, right?
I have no idea.
To do
I have
what the hell
ideas.
you
Yeah.
want to do.
Yeah. And I have a full-time job. So, I devote, all my brain power and my energy to work, which allows me the ability to write books. I do have another Potter Lake book that I want to get out before the end of the year. I have a couple of ideas. I have like a trilogy idea that I'm kind of bouncing around, but the way that I write is I need to think for a long time. The story really has to build in my head, and a lot of times I'll start something and hit a wall and put it away. Like I started Hey Lover in 2019, and I didn't finish it until last year. I started The Never List in 2016. I didn't finish it until 2020. I started Leslie's Curl and Dye 2018. I think I published that maybe 2019. So stories really have to simmer for a while, and I don't feel like I would have the ability and the freedom to let it simmer, let it cook as long as it needs to, let that story build in my head if I was on contract and I had to push out a book a year, and it doesn't matter how good it is, just shove it out there, uh, give it to an editor, and then get on with the next story. Like these books are my babies. These books are my heart. They live in my brain. They are real people to me, and I don't want to sign that over to somebody, and I don't want to rush it. I like to say it's done when it's done, and not a second sooner. It's out when it's out, and not a minute sooner. I'll let you know when it's coming, or maybe not. I'll just drop it. I'll do a Beyonce and just
You'll be
drop it
honest.
on the
It's like
timeline. And
Christmas time.
Merry Christmas. Here's a new book. But I have the freedom to do that. I don't have a machine. I just write the stories, and they come when they come. So um I do have about, I don't know, 4 chapters of a Potter Lake book I'm working on. Potter Lake is my small town romance series that I would really love to be as long and as good as the Blessings series from Beverly Jenkins. So I'm kind of studying, her work and that series to see how I can get it up to that level. And then, but I love a new story. I love new characters. Sometimes they just come sit in my head and they won't shut up. And I know when it's time to write, when I just can't think of anything else, and they just be arguing in my head. And I sound crazy, but that's kind of how it goes. So,
That's how it is. That's how
yep, yep, yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. So tell people where they can find you online.
I'm everywhere. Author DL White on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, a little bit on TikTok. I'm there, but I'm mostly watching cat videos and people organizing the refrigerator. I do try to follow Black authors if they are on TikTok. So if you're on there, follow me or find me. Let me know. I'll try, follow you. Repost if I can, comment, etc. I also buy too many books off of TikTok. I don't do too many videos because I just can't. I can't get with the algorithm over there. But I do love a good cat video. So and also my website, booksbydlwhite.com. You can always hit me up there. I'm on Pinterest, but not really on Pinterest. I have some stuff on there, but don't follow me there. Ain't nothing there. But mostly on Twitter and Instagram And also Facebook. I'm also on Facebook.
Awesome. And I'm sure you can probably access all those things from your website.
Yes.
And the link to DL's website is below. The link, like I said, for Hey Lover is below, and Brunch at Ruby's. And then if you want to buy Brunch at Ruby's directly from her, then you can do that by going to her website, which is linked below. So
Yep.
thank y'all so much for joining us. Thank you for being, so involved, so engaged, asking such great questions, and for all taking time out of y'all evening to hang with us. So thank you. If you enjoyed the show, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and definitely share the show so that other people can hear this great conversation that I just got a chance to have with DL. So thank you for that. And my next show will be February 7th. So it's 3 weeks from today. And I'll be talking to Melissa Gill, who is running the new Steamy Lit conference. The romance conference is happening in California. So it's a diverse conference. So, and then I'm talking to Piper Hughley later on that month. So got lots of good stuff coming up. Thank y'all so much for joining us tonight.
My mother is obsessed with Piper Hughley.
Oh my God.
Obsessed.
Go love it. Go love it. So
thank you so much for having me. Let me talk my lipstick off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime, you are welcome to come back. So thank you. And thank y'all. Have a good night. Thank you so much for joining us.